Alrighty. Welcome. Buddy, great to have you. New day, new week, new stream. Sorted is this smez. How you doing? Devi, what's happening? Leaf veiled boy, thank you. Glenda Valentina, how you doing? Sorats, great to have you. Artist Tony, welcome. Mixter, how you doing, my friend? All right. If I'm being completely honest, I am all out of sorts this morning. It was a mad rush to getting here, getting to the stream, but we're here. I'm doing well, Debbie. Had some plain Jane shenanigans. Paint was peeling off. I've had to remake the mold for plain Jane, so that's been a process. That was reasonably smooth actually, but it'll just when it rains it pours. But we're here. Oh, Mixter, you bloody legend. Just getting in preparation for the old Lightbox Expo, which is good. Found out I'm going to be at booth 421, which will be cool. So yeah, I've got to get my bearings and figure out what the hell we're doing for this stream. Is there anything on her you'd want to change? Yeah, I want to get I want to change a few things. Well, not change necessarily. Like, she's fine as she is, but do like different iterations of her. So let's a good question. Let's get some old Pinterest up and running. See if we can get some warm-ups happening. It'll be good just to relax and get some drawing happening. Take me out of the chaos for a moment. Alright, oh, I love that. I'm just going to save that. So I'm looking for something that grabs my eye to do a little shape color warm up. Let's see what we can find. Could be a head, could be a car, a vehicle. Could be a bloody shoulder blade for all I care at the moment. I just need something to focus on. But I hope you've all been doing well. I hope you all had a great week last week. Oh, we could just keep scrolling forever. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? That's quite nice, lighting wise. Let's do that. Done. It grabbed me. I grabbed it back. Let's go. Devi, no, that's been on pause. The good old gang, that's been put on pause, so you haven't missed any of that. I have just been doing fly by the seat of my pants streams. Soapy art. Where do you take inspiration for exaggerating features and body parts? How do you think about it, approach it when designing these characters? I take it from all over the place. I mean, there's a few influences that I like to look at, like some Disney stuff. Max Grecke's fantastic for this sort of stuff. I bloody love his work. We've got Sean Cheeks Galloway as well. He's fantastic. A lot of 3D artists as well that I can't, like off the top of my head, I can't remember the names, but if they come to me, I will let you know. And then I kind of try and make my own process around that, which then hopefully, fingers crossed, gives my own little spin to the shapes and the characters and all that sort of stuff, etc., etc. Styles Hale, hi, I've been learning from your videos for a short while now. They are very helpful. Styles, welcome, and thank you very much. I'm glad to hear it. Osama Ben Al Haj, appreciate you. Big fan from Libya. Oh, great to have you pop in. Do I know Hussein Ojagi? I don't. I might know their work. I'm terrible with names. Chunky Cat, thanks for popping in. Any tips on trying to visualize something in 3D? Everything ends up looking flat. Get really, honestly, get really, really familiar. I've said this many times. Forgive me if I'm a broken record. But get really, really familiar with this. Alright. The old cube. Okay. The old cylinder. And then being able to manipulate them however which way you want. So now I want a cube that's kind of funky looking. Maybe I want a cylinder with a really wide bottom and a small top, right? Being able to, these are just a couple of simple shapes. You can then manipulate them to be like pyramid, right? Illuminati, or like a sphere, or whatever. These simple shapes are the basis for everything looking 3D, right? And then there's like offshoots of them. So then you could like build on top of this cube, for example, and continue going. So I would recommend, if you're struggling and things are looking a little bit flat, if you can't already, really work on being able to just manipulate these shapes at will. Like for example, I could just go, okay, I want to look up at the cube, right, and have it facing this way. Boom. Right? And that comes with practice, of course. You know this. We all know this. Right? But we're looking up at this cube and you can just do that. And then it's like, all right, well, what if I want to rotate it just a little bit? Well, being able to just rotate it at will is huge. Like, it's just like overpowered how useful being able to do this is, right? And then it's like, all right, squares and rectangles and spheres and cylinders and whatever, blah blah blah, boring, right? Well, this is why I don't think they're boring, because as you'll see, hopefully, as we start to, even on a face, right, that's kind of square on here, as I start to play around with these shapes, you can see that that's kind of like a pyramid for the nose, or like the top of a pyramid. The eyes are spheres, right? Maybe I have tiny little eyes here. The ears going back, they're cylinders, right? I might not draw them and do all my quote unquote like working out with all the 3D shapes, if you know what I mean. But even thinking about this lip could be classified as like a half a cylinder, right? That's just cut off here. This is so overpowered how useful just being able to do this is. Once I was able to do this and understand the 3D shapes, not even perspective, not ruling out all the bloody like all this sort of shit. This is good. This is fantastic. Not poo-pooing it, but just being able to do it at will wherever to a decent degree of accuracy. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Like everything changed. Like it was just the world's my oyster. And shit became really, really fun and a lot less frustrating, because then you can kind of, I'm talking about this this is why this is all front of mind, because I'm talking a little bit about this in my next YouTube video, but it's kind of, you can reverse engineer stuff if something's not looking right. Right, like say that, I don't know, if we're drawing like a head in 3/4 view, or even profile view, right? Let's just imagine like a skull. Okay, that's a weird looking skull, but you get the idea. That jaw needs to be a little bit down here. Right? As things aren't looking right, say I'm having trouble getting this part of the face or the eye sockets looking right, I can reverse engineer stuff and say, okay, how's my perspective? How is this shape going back in space? Is that correct? When this connects to here in 3D space, does this make sense? Right? That might dip back in there because I know, again, it's a 3D object. And even cracking open Blender as well. Crack open Blender, it's free, it's fucking awesome. Figuring out how to create some primitives and studying from them. Alright, and then you can say, okay, you can reverse engineer a face if you want to go this deep. You don't have to go this deep, I just like going nerdy with it. You can then reverse engineer the eye socket. The eyeball, sorry, eye socket. And then the eye. And how that sits in there, and then you can reverse engineer the nose. Like it's just so, you just got so much power now and control over what you lay down. If that makes any sense at all. Right? Hopefully you even saw that on Instagram, because I was bloody off off of the screen. My apologies. Christian, what's happening, man? You heard correct. You heard correct. I've got to purchase us bloody whatever it is, power for the booth. From your also question, Christian, if you're still here, how was the like general, just like on your phone, like data for like surfing the internet and stuff, just so people could go on the web? Like, my reason I ask is people hopping on the website to place an order. Is that going to be tricky for them? Like, is there just like shit reception in there, or I don't know. But yeah, Chunky Cat, it's okay-ish. It's enough to get to a website. If it's, yeah, there is Wi-Fi, but if I can avoid paying for Wi-Fi, that'll be ideal. Because it's like, what is it, like $200 or something just to get a plug to the thing, which kind of makes sense, but it's just if I can reduce the expenses, that'll be lovely. Chunky Cat, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Lon's Tattoos. Been studying your style on Gary Villarreal. Gary's great. Gary's a funny fellow. I like him. Yeah, I do know him. Well, I know, like, we've talked a couple of times. I recently saw some of your art on Pinterest, some tutorials, and it helps me a lot to make stylized faces. Fantastic. Really glad to hear it. How do you make use of stylized illustrations? Like, who will hire me to work for them? Depends. That's like, how long's a piece of string? Who's going to hire? It depends on what studios and stuff would have that kind of style. Or really, I mean, put it this way, Call of Duty, the people that make Call of Duty aren't going to be looking too much for stylized stuff. They're going for more realism. So All right, let's get back to the drawing. Born, how you doing? Great to have you in. Okay, let's get back to the little warm-up sketch, because I want to play around with this lighting. This looks fun. Okay, let's get me out of the way. Don't need to see my bloody head taking up all the room. But yeah, it's been a bit of a fucking all over the place kind of morning and week, if I'm honest. But let's see if we can get a little bit of this indication of that mouth open. Also, I believe there is an update for the Filthy plugin for those of you that were having issues downloading it from Gumroad. That should be fixed, or all fixed now, which is good news. All done with the building and cars for warm-ups? Adam, nah, just trying to, just doing something a bit different. Never done with the buildings and cars. I love them. I'm gonna get back to like some gouache studies. And because people were critiquing the size of the ears on that fella that I did the other day, saying that the ears were too big and that it quote unquote ruined it, this is what I say to you. Bam. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no worries, Debbie. No worries. Okay, so he's got a bit of his mustache. Got his little... What's this hat called? Is it a beret? I don't know. Yagmaverl. This is Photoshop. Sophie, what software do you use and prefer? Photoshop, Procreate, Clip Studio, or something else? All of the above. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. What I'm more concerned about is the foundations and how each piece of software or each project, how each piece of software can support the project that I'm working on. If I want to do more line worky stuff that looks a little bit more natural, I might whip open Clip Studio. Alright, because I do like their inking brushes. If I'm on the go, I might whip open Procreate, you know? It's all dependent on what I feel like. Not what I feel like. Yes, what I feel like. But whatever the drawing or the project requires, you know? That eye's way too big. All right, we've got a base. We've got a cheeky little base here. Knock it back. Let's refine some of these lines. I've been in a line work kind of mood recently, so gives us a little bit of something to work with. This is actually I should probably do this so you guys on Instagram can see what the hell's going on. I might even... I want to write a little Mac app that shows me where, like it maps to where OBS is, so I can actually see what other people are seeing instead of having to always like look over, like particularly with the vertical. I think that could be potentially useful. Like definitely not going for likeness here either. Like this is not something I'm concerned with right now. Painter wannabe. Ah, you're too kind. You are too kind. I want to get into the habit of staying zoomed out as well, so I want to remove scrubby zoom. That's one way to help. So he's looking concerned, so I want to make sure that the eyebrows reflect that, because they are expression machines. Right? They're not expressive enough. So what I might do... You know what, I might bring back some of that other sketch, because I lost... Sometimes I lose a little bit. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. Quick tip as well, with the warp tool, you can like hold command or control and like make more points, so you can get more like granular with your changes, instead of using like the liquify tool, for example. Liquify, nothing wrong with liquify. I don't tend to use it too much for no other reason than I just don't. Nothing against it. Maybe I should. Who knows? Alright, let's just add in the eyebrows real quick. Bam, bam. Okay, so we'll whip some color on this pretty quickly, pretty soon. I want to see if I can make this hat. It's like paperboy hat, is that what it's called? Feel a little bit floppier, maybe. Or just like off center, kind of like how he's got it here. Quick tip for getting the form of the head down when the character has a big hat / big hair. Understand that there's a skull underneath there. All right. This comes back to understanding the 3D forms of what's going on in your scene, on your character, whatever, right? So if you understand that there's a skull underneath here, and then it depends what the skull's like. His skull might end there, right? But then he might have hair. It really depends. If he has really, really big hair, right, and it's kind of like puffing out of the sides here, you know, you got to take that into account. But it's really just trying to think through, and then think of the hat as a separate object sitting on top. Because as soon as you start, like, I don't know, for me at least, as soon as you start kind of connecting things like the head as part of the hat, or like just thinking of them two together, that's when things start looking a little bit funky, if that makes any sense at all. Whoa, speaking of funky. There we go. Let's really exaggerate these eyes here. Really get him like concentrating what he's looking at. Let's add in a bit of the mouth. Yeah, try to imagine the top of the skull as an egg. Yeah, I would try it. Like, see if you can think of the top of the, I like to, at least. You do what you want. But I like to think of the top of the skull less of like the top of an egg and more of like, I guess this kind of comes back to a little bit of, yes, then slightly cubify it. Bang on. That's a very good way to put it. Right? Kind of, you've got this like these temple lines that you can think of. I can imagine a skull here. Kind of cubify the top of that head down to something like that. That's how I like to think of it. More cube. It just gives me more direction, like, or more opportunities to show form. But that's just me. Show off them planes, that's it. You know it, Debbie. Okay, now thinking again of the beard is not like individual strands necessarily. All right, I'm thinking of it kind of as a block, almost like I'm sculpting it. That's why I reckon every 2D artist should give sculpting a go. It helps. It has been one of the key things that have really helped me more than anything. Because then we can think about if we were actually sculpting this beard, what would that look like? As like again, a 3D object. You're gonna get sick of me bloody saying it. Right, there's little holes here where some of the hair doesn't quite. How's my audio, by the way? Hopefully it's, I haven't touched it, I don't think, since last stream, so it should be fairly okay. Little indication of the teeth. Right, he doesn't have teeth here, but I'm adding teeth here because I feel like it. All good. Appreciate it, Debbie. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're almost ready. So I'm going to have him a little bit burlier than this bloke here. Oh, I'm used to the scrubby zoom, but I'm trying to stay zoomed out. Alright, so this guy here, he's got his little leather strap going on there. It's sort of like undershirt kind of thing there. A little bit of shadow, not a cheat, but I like to do this. Adam, is it paused? Is the stream paused? Nah, I think I'm still going. Okay. Sesh, if I start sculpting to start learning, what do you recommend me do first? I would, if you've never done it before, I would, Tayra, appreciate ya. I would figure out, start small, get some primitives going, get your cubes, your spheres, your cylinders, get them on the scene, right? In Blender or whatever sculpting software. Then so you don't have to feel like you have to draw a full head before you can start learning from it, do a little warm-up, or work that into your warm-up of just getting used to the program, create some primitives, take a screenshot, and do a study of like cubes in different directions. Then, all right, let's try sculpting. Maybe instead of trying to tackle the whole head, let's see if you could maybe, oh my lanta, hold on. This bloody zooming. Let's then see if you can sculpt. Right, so you've got your cube here. Then let's see if you can just sculpt like a really simplified like nose. And just get used to doing that, pushing and pulling the, or you also do what you want. Push and pull the clay, the digital clay, and do whatever you want. Try that, right? See if you can get like a stylized nose or a realistic nose, whatever you want, right? And then maybe you could cut in the eyes, in the eye sockets, then stop, screenshot, then study, right? Because that's still going to be 3D. It's still going to be a three-dimensional thing. And then just keep doing that. And then you're like, oh, this is getting boring. Let's add the ear, the chin, the head, blah, 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 you know? And then slowly start doing that, or just go for it. You can do like whatever feels like that gets you excited about it, I think would be the way to start. At least to start using it as a tool for 2D work. And if you get blended and start lighting things in different directions, figure out how to add a light. What does that look like? Different shadows, different size lights, because that's a big thing that was like a huge aha moment for me. The size of the light is going to determine all the shadows and how something looks. So it's, yeah, give that a whirl. I'm interested to see how you go, because I want to eventually do like a course of some sort on like sculpting for 2D artists or something like that, because it's helped me so much, and I think it might be valuable to make something like that. Okay, so we've got something here. We've got something to work with. Let's start whipping some color on. Julia, how you doing? Great to have you pop in. All right. Now it's going to be a color study. So now we are in a bit of a danger for this just becoming the whole stream, depending on how much fun I'm having with this lighting setup. We shall see how we go. I'm just going to encompass his whole shape just with a flat grey. Joseph, the dimensions. What are the dimensions of this canvas? Good question. 3840 by 2160. I believe it's like 4K. Like if you're thinking about aspect ratio, because I think I was doing this for a YouTube video. Like this guy, he's going to show up in the next YouTube video. Now we might do black and white first, actually. Let's do a bit of a value study to begin with, because it's nice lighting. Really like harsh daylight. So what we can do, let's get these shadows going. Alright, so I'm really just focusing on like the hard edge of the shadows. You'll see it in 2 moments, just do something. Boom. Now we've got somewhat of a readable shadow. Wow, that's not what I wanted. I guess that's kind of what you could call like the philosophy of how I think about stuff, is like, how can we break things down as simply as possible to then give us the best chance of understanding it, just like how I'm doing here with the lighting. And then you can slowly sort of creep up onto the details and all that fun stuff. I appreciate it, Painter. But yeah, my whole focus this last couple of weeks and this upcoming next 2 weeks, let's say, it's getting prepared for the long trip to the USA. Right, and you can see here why it's so important to think about things in 3D, particularly because we're experimenting and we're inventing things. Because without understanding that this nose comes up and around, right, this could very quickly look very flat. I should try Jersey Mike's. I've heard of that. Best sandwich shops ever. I'm down. What's In and Out like? A cube. My pleasure. Thanks for popping in. This live came in just at the right time for this drawing I want to render. Fantastic. Buddy, how's that? Good timing. Hope you didn't. Oh my god, my brain's not working. Hope you've been doing well, Anna. Okay, so next step. What are we going to try and do? Let's look at some of these occlusion shadows. For those of you that are unfamiliar with occlusion shadows, they are the ones where the light has the hardest time getting to. Right, so I'm just going to use the multiply. That's what I'm talking about. So right underneath here, that light is going to have a really tricky time escaping. Potentially all underneath here, because there's still light. This was another aha moment for me that I was just like, oh, that makes sense. When I audibly go, oh shit, or like, oh, it's one of those things where it's like, yep, that's something to remember. That even in shadow, there's still light, unless it's like completely void of light, which is very, very hard to do. Even then, even in the darkest shadows, most of the time, there's going to be some sort of light bouncing around in there. Firehouse subs is amazing too. Oof. I'm getting excited. As I said before, I'm not too much of a foodie, but maybe this trip will change. We'll change that. Lana, I'm having trouble simplifying shapes anatomy-wise. Any tips? For fear of sounding like a broken record, I would see how you can break any part of the anatomy down into either where are we into, say it with me, a cube, cylinder, sphere, or sort of any combination of these ones, right? And then, like for example, let's say this has got to be a tangent stream. My head's all over the place right now, so it's going to be a tangent stream. Here we go. So let's say, for example, let's get a bit of anatomy. Like what's a good, like this here, right? This back. We could simplify this back. Where is my layer? So I would start with, it depends if you're talking about 2D or 3D. I'm looking at this here. I would simplify this rhombus at the trapezius. I guess that's what it is. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I would try and first simplify it into the 2D shapes. Then see how we can fit one of these. Oh, where do my shapes go? Either a sphere, cylinder, or any combination, like squash and stretch them into this. So even just doing wireframes, so we can see that this is really rounded. So this is like half a cylinder, but it's like a really oblong kind of cylinder-ish. It's more organic, right? So I would really start to think of stuff like this, and then this has volume to it. The deltoid has volume to it. The arm coming back in space. Cylinder. Right? I would start to think of it with the wireframes. Wireframes can really help. Sometimes the simplification into what I say all the time is like cubes and whatever can be a little bit tricky to abstract it away that far. Like, how do I get from here to there? Or like from here, like a cylinder to here. That's where doing kind of like an in-between, like a bridge between, like, okay, we imagine the cylinder's there, but we can kind of fit the properties, I guess you could say, of this 3D object onto these weird oblong kind of surfaces. Oh my god. Hopefully that makes sense. That helped out a little bit. You've only had good experiences in and out, but I'm an East Coaster. East. New York side. That's East, yeah? Sketchy, how you doing? It's not hard. It's hard not to be a foodie in the States. All right, fair enough. That's fair. I guess here as well, like, we got good stuff here. It's just, it's not something that I've ever personally really got super excited about, because I'm pretty rigid with my diet, so. It's not a priority for me. I'm very happy with just eggs, veggies, chicken breast, kangaroo. That's probably one of the most the healthiest meats you could probably eat, just from the fact that they're not legally allowed to farm them, so they're never farmed. They're all wild. They're very lean, very gamey, but from like a health perspective, it's like probably the best stuff you can get. Thunguns, how you doing? Why can't 1,000-layer potatoes be sold as fast food? Well, you've got those like potatoes on a spiral. Have you ever had those? Not 1,000-layer. It could be similar. Lana, if you go to In-N-Out, apparently ask for extra crispy fries. I'm a vegetarian, so I haven't been there. But there's always a long line outside. Yeah, right, okay. So now I'm just really trying to find any little opportunities to show form in here. Deontay, thank you. Thanks for popping in. What did I have for foods today? I've had maybe like 5 almonds. And that's it so far. And coffee. So not much. You don't like food? No, like I see it more as like I guess because I'm more into like the gym and stuff, and like I don't know, it's more just fuel and how I feel after eating it versus while I'm eating it, if that makes sense. What's the best analogy to kangaroo? Lamb? I don't. Nah. It's very different. I don't know, I haven't had anything really quite like it. It might be equivalent to like deer. Maybe. Lana, yeah. Yeah, we do. 5 almonds and coffee, epic. I don't know about epic, but... Soapy, super fresh ingredients, and I feel like In-N-Out has mastered a simple burger, but that is up for debate for many people. Oh, just like everything else, right? Ah, it's good to know. I've got to try it though while I'm there. Tayra, do you ever deal with any hand, wrist, elbow pain from doing this too long? Have I ever? Nothing that stands out. I guess the only thing maybe was if my pressure sensitivity on my tablet was too hard and I was trying to really push, and I was doing long stints of stuff and really trying to push, and then I just reduced the what's it called, the pressure hardness to then get what pressure I want, but just with very light brush strokes like I'm getting now. It that helped a lot. But no, nothing directly related to this. I reckon stretching as well, and even going to the gym and like working out and doing stuff may have helped mitigate some of that, and doing like strength training and like grip training and stuff. But I'm not a physio or anything, so I don't know. I'd like to keep a kangaroo as my pet. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that either. I'm sure a lot of people would. They're cool. I love kangaroos. I saw a couple of them yesterday in a little, what would you call it, reservoir. It was very quintessential Australian. Just seeing wild kangaroos just by the old watering hole. But yeah, I want to go try fishing there sometime soon. Because who cares? No one's from here, so it doesn't even matter. But I was about to go into this thing. It's like, oh, they're open. Like, you can go and fish in this particular reservoir now. No one gives a fuck. Is it easier in your hand doing traditional pencil or digital? I have no idea. I don't think I've had the mileage with traditional to really give an opinion on that. You know what I have forgotten? Let's see if we can get, because I was using multiply layer here, let's see if we can get some local colors cranking. Meaning, hopefully, fingers crossed, cross your fingers everyone, that the shadows and stuff that we've done with the multiplier layer, as we add different colors in here, or sorry, different values underneath it as our local colors, that it still has some sort of semblance. Are those two separate? Resemblance is a word. Semblance sounds right. You know what I'm saying. It keeps some, let's just say context, for lack of a better word, with our shadows. So if I make the skin color just a little bit different than the rest of everything else, hopefully this will become apparent. Whoa, wrong way. Let's maybe do that. Oh, what do you reckon? Like, what do we want to try? Lighter. Lighter might be the go. How much lighter? That's a very good question. Right, so you notice that there is a difference. I'm not sure if I want it that light. Let's do the beard. There is some color variation in the beard, even value variation, which is almost comes hand in hand when you've got color variation in the beard. So let's bloody have it go. Lana, what if I just didn't tell anyone? I'd name him Arnie. Yeah, I guess you could give it a go. Yeah, just don't tell anyone. I'm not saying to do that, but you could. Resemblance. Lana, do I always do black and white before color? No. No, I don't always do it. So this is where we could come in with some of these bits of color variation here, which could help us with a little bit more realism. Apparently, resemblance refers to a likeness between two or more things. True, while semblance suggests contrast between a thing's appearance and its reality. I was right. Thank you, Tera. Okay. So here, hopefully you can see the value, not the black and white value, but the value is in, this is valuable, of those local colors. Because if not, it just looks like a flat, almost like a sculpture, which is cool if you want to go that way. But this just gives it a little bit of something different. Well, thank Google. True, but you were the conduit to another word that I'm not entirely sure that I'm saying in the right context, to the Google result. So I appreciate you. The real Saya, how you doing? Draw by 8, thank you. Pablo, hi Ben. I advanced the video and I could see that at the end it looks cool. Ah, appreciate it. Okay, so we got the beard here. I think I want to start whipping some color in. I don't want to fiddle around too much with this. I would like to add in a little bit of that undershirt color here. That was just annoying me. Let's just add in that little local color of the undershirt and maybe make it a little bit lighter. Come on, don't mess me around. And that did bugger all really. That's okay. Let's grab now a little trick I like to do. Say we've got, so that's our shadows. This is all the hair and everything. This is the, oh, not the hair, like the hat and everything. This is the beard. If we select this, we can like do the negative selection. No pixels, what are you talking about? That. And then we invert the selection, then we can grab the most of the skin color. I think. Or do I do, bugger, it's too much fiddling around. Don't worry about the trick failed. Which often it does. I'm just going to make sure that I have this underneath the beard. Just for clarity's sake. Underneath the beard and the hat. And what I'm going to do is add some color. Some way, somehow. If it wants to work with me or it wants to work against me. Come on. Colorize, there we go. Because we're going to do a lot to this skin color, or a lot. It's a bit of an overstatement. But what I'll also do is make sure that we add in some of this and some of this. Pop that underneath. Nah, let's add it actually, what I'm trying to do. Oh, I'm all over the place. Let's turn it to color. There we go. So now it resembles, and we've missed the ear over here, which is fine. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. And we come down here. It's going to be more of a sketchy rendering, which is fine. That's cool. All right, so now we're just going to start layering some color down. All right, just flat colors, and then we're going to add some color variation and have some fun with it. Travis, how you doing? Pablo from the future. Any advice on getting better at drawing clothes? Is it just practice? You could take that advice that I gave you before about the sort of anatomy and just translate that to clothes as well. Think about the wireframe, and even I would even start using yourself as reference. Like if I'm sitting here and I want to understand how folds work, I would say, okay, what happens when you do that to like a t-shirt? All the whatever's the fold and stuff go upwards and sort of sag down. They crumple up when it like pinches here, you know what I mean? You've got so much reference you can just get that's around you. I think we get caught into looking online for stuff, for a lot of stuff that it's right there in front of us. I'm guilty of it as well, because it's just what you're used to. You're just in front of a bloody screen all day long. You're like, all right, what website can I go to get the best clothing reference? When you're literally probably wearing some sort of clothing, just take a photo of it and give it a go. But then using those wireframes, what I was talking about, with thinking about it as a 3D form. If that makes sense, any sense at all. Hopefully it does. Yeah, you could study the fold types as well. I haven't personally, and that's probably at a detriment to myself. It's not, yeah, I just haven't spent a good quality of time actually understanding the different fold types, which is probably not a smart thing to do. Whoa. Alright, so we're just doing the same thing over here, just trying to... Let's try like hard light. Yeah, that looks nice. And then we can come through. Yeah, I'll have a look at what my clothes are doing more throughout the day. You laugh, but honestly, that's going to be super useful. I would recommend being more observant throughout the day for anyone, you know, even with lighting and texture and all sorts. It's all fair game just to observe. Just don't get caught looking at people for too long. Don't want to be held responsible for any confrontations that happen. Pablo, obviously it's a joke. I just know that at the end of the day, they always turn out great. XPL was doing a marathon. He was doing a marathon of the live shows. Ah, awesome. Alright, so you can see here that just adding a little bit of this color variation. Now I'm using hard light. I barely ever use hard light, but I'm just experimenting, seeing what happens with it, you know. And there will come a time where we will merge this all down and just start painting. We're just trying to get to that point, right? Muhammad, he's like Messi. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I can see the resemblance. Sorry about my English. I'm from Argentina. Ah, no stress. No stress. I know what you're talking about. No, your English is fine. Okay, with eyes, they're never white, right? Because if you do white eyes, particularly if they're in, like, it looks creepy as hell. So we knocked them right down. Maybe because he's outside, we could even give him a little bit of a blue. Tinge to them. Michael Hampton, Marco Bucci, Modern Day James have good vids on drapery. Agreed. Michael's YouTube videos go into. Yeah, he's got great YouTube videos. Highly recommend checking them out. All right, now I'm going to come in with a little bit of the old color variation of the skin. Do the typical redder nose, because he's been out in the sun. He looks like a farmer. So that's probably something to take into account. Maybe go a little bit more orange. And you can kind of, little tip with the multiplier layer, it can kind of do double duty as like the color layer mode if you crank the brightness all the way up. So if you increase the brightness completely and then you just choose different hues, more or less works like a color layer mode. Or I use it like a color layer mode. I don't know technically if it works like a color layer mode, but that's how I sometimes use it instead of changing layers and layer modes and all that stuff. Now a little bit intense, so we can just knock that back, which is fine. Then we can go again. More color variation. Now we can do it if we want it to be more like fancy schmancy and what am I trying to say? Like have it more like sculptural, or we've got to have a little bit more texture. Can whip out the filthy plugin. Shout out, shameless plug. I think it's great. Not a shameless plug. No, it still is shameless. Yeah. All right, so we can add in some shapes. Right, just to break up that smoothness of that airbrush. Right. This in combination with the color layer modes works great, and like multiply and all that sort of stuff, so it doesn't mess too much with the values. Now the cool thing is we haven't even touched the lights. Right, this is all the mid-tones and the shadows. I might even give them a bit of a background to begin with. A bit of a background just in general. Let's just do like something. I quite like that, just from a illustrative standpoint. It kind of matches his thing, but maybe we do it like blue. He's outside. Then we can play around with some of the lights. Let's do a cheeky preview of what some of the light source might look like adding some of these highlights in without doing too much work. Boom. See, because we've done a lot of work already, we can just go like, boom, that kind of reads. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but just that shine on the nose, like boom, boom. All right, that's it. That's enough preview. We've still got work to do. Men Meplin. Maybe you could draw a zombie for Halloween. Sounds good. I think I'm going to be on a plane in Halloween. Yeah, I think it's the 31st, isn't it? Shameful plug. Yeah, you know it. Alright, so let's use... Oh, you know what? Fuck. I'm just going to merge them all down. Merge everything down. Can't be asked with all these layers and stuff. So even if we take the line work away, we can still get it reading like something. So let's grab this, merge it, and let's just start painting. Let's have some fun here. Let's get painterly. Let's try a screen. And instead of doing the fill, I might just utilize the hard edge of the lasso tool to then get a brush and ever so slowly just refine the values and the lights and the darks and all that sort of stuff. Let's try that workflow today, if you will indulge me. October 31st is Halloween. Cool. Yep, I'll be on a plane then, I think. So yeah, maybe I'll do something on the plane. I was thinking, like, how can I make the plane flight? Because it's like 14 hours, right? The plane flight there to America. How can I make it useful? What can I work on? I was thinking about doing like some YouTube scripts, which will be good. That could be helpful. It's like, okay, cool. What else? What? How can I utilize my time to the maximum of just sitting? I just try and stream from the plane. And these eyes are looking a little bit weird. So, we've got to do something about it. What we're going to do, we're going to sit them in the sockets a little bit more. And the cool thing is this here, this nose is going to become a light source itself. Alright, so I'm going to add a hint of that, like nose shine, right? That specular highlight. I want to do something with the edge of this light source as well, but this becoming a light source allows us to then add some depth to the shadows here. So we could play it up a little bit with thinking about what's facing that part of the nose. Is it this part of the brow? Is that going to be facing the nose? I want to have that a little bit more saturated. Underneath here, even all this is going to be a light source, so just underneath the eyelid, or the eye socket, let's say. going to be some of that reflected light potentially. Don't want to overdo it because it could look a little bit odd. But this then can allow us to show some of the planes that are happening. And there's going to be all sorts of like reflected light from the sky and everything, so we can play around with that as well. So even, I'm going to disregard the reference for the moment because we've given it a different kind of atmosphere. Let's add in a bit of that reflected light that might be hitting why am I not what's going on here? And we're back. Alright, so stuff that's facing upwards could reflect the light from the sky. Kind of self-explanatory. This is going to become a little bit brighter, but because it's kind of this suede material, don't want to overdo it too much. We have good internet on the plane. Doubt it. Fry wrapped baked corn on the cob, juicy tasty kernels, but the center so stiff you can stab a fork on it. What are you talking about? Tongue guns. You crazy. Modu, how you doing? A cube, does the reflected light match the color of the things it bounces off of, or does the light retain its original color? How do you choose the colors of the areas the reflected light hits? Fantastic question. One of my favorite things to play around with. The Sognar, starting my day with Legends Life. You're too kind. Thanks for popping in. Very good question. So basically, anything that the light bounces off of, the light that emits or reflects is going to take some of that color and reflect it out. So if this was like a pure white light bouncing down onto his nose, but his nose, like the local color of his skin is like a peachy kind of color, this is going to become more of like a peachy sort of reflected light. You can see it, at least I can see it sometimes when I'm driving and the sun hits my skin and it like reflects into the rest of the car. Or like when it just hits just right and it reflects, it's like a peach glow, essentially. So that's something to take into account as well, definitely. When I would travel from London to LA, which was like 11 to 13 hours, I would bring my own movies and TV shows on my iPad and then try and sleep for as long as I could. Yeah, I want to get something to knock me out. But how effective that's going to be, I don't know. Yeah, I want to try. I've seen this thing online where people are like just doing like really long flights with nothing. And they just stare at the screen, like almost like a meditation kind of thing. Fuck that. I don't think I could do that. All right, let's merge all this down again. See if we can get some indication of this beard being more rounded, both with texture and with values. I'd be scared to fall asleep so heavily on the plane I'd be kicked off embarrassingly. How could you sleep so heavy that you get kicked off? I'd be happy with that. Just kick me off when I'm at my destination. I did that once and forgot a bag, so never again. Oh no. What a nightmare. Yeah, that would suck. A cube. It'd be dependent on the intensity of the light source. I'd recommend, if you've got the capacity, to open Blender, because there's some weird stuff with color theory about, like, say, like a red object and a blue light. Here we go, tangent time. So if we come here, there's some interesting stuff that happens. Get out of here. All right. So if we have like this red object, okay, like as kind of pure red as you can get. And then we add like a purple light. You look how much that just changes the whole, it just absorbs a lot. So I think from, like, I don't want to be saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. From memory, like if you got opposite, like red and blue, like how do I say it, like different light sources and local lights cancel each other out and they absorb a lot, so there's different like reflectivities, right? So if we change this to say like a green light, like, so you can see the color wheel here, right? You can't on Instagram, my apologies, but oh, maybe you can. Yeah, you can now. So if we got this color wheel, when you've got like the opposite colors on the wheel, it kind of cancels out, and the object will absorb a lot of that light. But as soon as you start to wrap it around and get it closer, it almost looks like you're turning the lights on, but I'm doing nothing to the intensity of the light. It's just the color. So you start coming into the yellows from the greens, that then you see a lot more. There's a lot more that's reflected. Whereas if you just go straight blue, that just absorbs a heck of a lot of light. And if this object it was really rough, like a matte surface instead of being like super shiny, it just absorbs it completely. So it doesn't just change the color, the value will change. So it's a tricky subject, but if you can see it working in real life here, so then if you have like red, right, you see how desaturated that light source gets, even with like a pure like pinky reddy kind of light, right? You got that point here. If we then add that specular highlight back in, that is going to be like a desaturated version of the rest of what's around here. But yeah, basically light's funky, and if you can get to this point, experiment and see what happens, because I wish I could change the whole thing black and white. Like if we I'm going too far into this, but so we've got red light on a red ball. Okay. No, I changed the material. No, that's why there's purple here. No, I want this to be a red ball. All right, red light on a red ball is this value. Not changing the intensity of the light. Blue light on a red ball, same intensity, is that value, and then like a green light on a red ball is that, and then like a yellow light on a red ball is that. So you look at the differences. If we whip these here and we just go black and white. Whoa. Yeah, we've gone way tangenty, but I love this stuff. This is fun. So if we look at this, and then we go black and white, you look how much the value changes based on what's reflected. Like, it's nuts. So these are like orange and red lights on a red ball, and this is like your green and your blue lights on a red ball. The intensity of the light didn't change, it's just how much is absorbed or absorbed and reflected back. There's all technical reasons for it that I'm not qualified to talk about yet, but just knowing that happens is super useful. Thun guns, you cheeky bugger, and Instagram. A cube. Wow, that's actually amazing. I wonder if this is why red becomes muted so quickly underwater. I would imagine so. I don't know that for a fact, but yeah, it kind of makes sense. The real Damon, or the real Damien. As soon as I stop drawing Ustream, I guess I have to pick up the pencil again. If you've been drawing a lot, take it easy. You don't have to. The breaks are just as important as working. I should take my own advice there, but you know what? It doesn't always work. Now his eyebrows are too dark here, so let's just have some fun and lighten them up a tad to match his kind of beard vibe. To match his beard vibe, hey? Whoa. Now, yeah, there are some issues definitely with the eyes. Looking a bit off. So let's fix that. Can just nudge him over ever so slightly. He's looking a little bit like, which I don't hate. That kind of looks like he's got eyelashes, so let's maybe not do that. Maybe I've just got to use the pen tool, or the pencil, the brush. Ah, yeah. We are definitely in noodle zone right now. That's fine. He looks a bit cross-eyed now. Whoops. This is where flipping the canvas comes in. Pushing and pulling. Yeah, that'll do. Or we just nuke it and get a fresh start. I think we just get a fresh start. I need Scrubby Zoom back. Let's grab Scrubby Zoom. There we go. Now this looks creepy as. That's fine. Because it's about to not look creepy. Just imagine the eyes. Maybe a little bit larger, let's say. When you shout your style AI, Driz, I'm not entirely sure if you're all there, if that was an attempt at an insult. If you're going to try and do that, at least run it through like if English isn't your first language, just throw it through Translate so it hits a little bit harder next time. So here I'm thinking about the eyes in the sockets as balls, as they are. Yeah, I've got no time for fuck nuts. It's probably just like, no, that's not. We could change the expression completely. So he can look a lot more concerned at what he's looking at. So I'm never afraid to just completely erase something, regardless of how long I've been working on it, you know? This gives it a lot more, I don't know, I like this a lot more. Lana, definitely. If you've even got like a bit of clay or plasticine or something, like make a little cube so you've got it there in front of you, or whip open Blender. Like that's definitely an option as well. Again, utilize reference that's around you. Kaneki, how you doing? Yeah, because maybe if I can get the cube down, then I can do a face all the way around. That's it. Yeah, this has a lot more character to it. What's his name? The real Damien, a good way is to find a sheet of cubes, trace them, then draw them separately. Eventually your brain will do the rest to move it in different angles. That's a good way to do it as well. Multiple different ways. I think this guy's name is Gerald. But his friends call him. That's up to you to decide. Jerry. There we go. Done. Beautiful. Jerry. Fern the Fisher. Maybe like he's not a fisherman at all, but he just dresses that way for some reason. Maybe he is a spy and he's working undercover. And he's just realized that his friend or his partner in the bureau has just double-crossed him based on what he's just seen. Another deal has gone down. So he's like, how dare you? What do I do now? Or he's a hiker. Yeah, all that. He's a botanist and he has to go on a hike to see the flowers, but he has like a potato chips business on the side. Potato chips business. How lucrative is that? Maybe he's like the heir to like Smith's chips or something. Or Jerry's chips, yeah. But why is he, but here we go. What's the story here? Like, why is he looking so concerned? His wife got ate by a shark. Jesus, Travis. That's a bit harsh. Why are you doing that to Jerry for? His wife ate a shark. There you go. I like the flip. I don't, because he left his little bottle that he carries the plants in at home. I don't think it would warrant this kind of expression. You never know. Bashar reason he saw Jesus and nearly passed out from fucking hell. She's getting weird. I think we can play around with this. As I said, I don't really use the liquefy tool that much, but I think we can play around with it here. What on earth is that? Whoa. What is that? Oh, it recognizes faces. Okay. Maybe he's turning, he turns into a fish. And that's why he's like, oh shit, it's happening. No, what I was going to do. Is just add a little bit of this. Just a bit. Is there a way to mask? I swear I've seen freeze mask. Okay. So I don't want the eye to move. So let's try that. Or this eye. So then we can go without fearing our work is going to be just mushed. Then we could even do something like that. So before, after. Yeah, it just adds that little bit of something, you know. Better. Better, better, better. He's stoned. Could be that. Rachel, how you doing? His partner left him. Why is everything so dark? All right, here we go. What's like a funny thing that happened? The 1,000-yard stare. Victor, how you doing? He likes bananas. The fish got up and walked away. Yeah, something like that. Bullwinkle. I mean, made me laugh. Coffee splashback. It's all happening. How are we not? That's what I'm saying. Read my mind, Dunguns. Read my mind. Ah, maybe he used to be a pirate. Okay. I think he's just mad because he forgot to take his meds. Oh god. Yeah, maybe he's got some, like, I don't know what it is with tattoos and stuff, but we end up every other stream some tattoos start happening. Maybe he's like, he's got a past. No, I refuse. No, it's a cop out to add interest. I'm going to add liver spots instead. Sorry, Jerry. Could have a hook through his nose. I'm still going with he owns Jerry's chips. I like it. Keep it up to interpretation. Whatever you think his backstory is, you are correct. What's the time? 12:36. He almost gives me that. Who's that guy from Breaking Bad? The bald dude. Not the main character, the older guy. Bashar looks good even when flipped. Yeah, thank you. That's the big test, right? There's something up with the eye, but that's alright. It is what it is. I want to give the impression of this almost like subsurface scattering kind of deal. From the sun. Just using the color burn. Layer mode. Yeah, it's not quite right, but it's fine enough. No, it's not. No, I think what we'd do, knock that back, new layer. Color, just the color layer mode. I think that's where we've got to, yeah, give that kind of glowy, subsurface scattery-ish kind of deal. Now this makes him look real stinky breath. That's what let's knock down that because it'll be a lot more in shadow. Something like that. Mike, that's the one. What type of tablet you use? It's an XP Pen 15 Pro, I think it's called. Jerry's chips in 3D. Here's Jerry's chips. These little Jerry's chiclets. He hasn't been to the dentist in a long time. He also kind of looks like a sheep herder, he does. See, these streams are good for me in a sense that I don't get caught up in these like little details. I only get so far with the stream pieces, you know, which is kind of a good thing. So I'm not getting caught up, or too caught up, let's say, in like all the little details, and it's sort of helping me with my decision making on what's important at the time. Rachel, oh, again, heartbreaking. What are we doing to this poor man? It is. It's a double blow for Jerry. Oh, fuck. So here, he can be absolutely livid with whatever he's seeing. Now, because these are kind of, I think of these like dinner plates or like bowls, like the eyes. They're going to catch light at different angles. It is me. No, way too pronounced. Now this is going to be a light source as well. His old jacket and everything. Oh, beef curry over acorn squash and corn on the cob. Whee! Yeah, it's getting about that time. I'm getting a bit peckish. Let's remove the shape dynamics. Let's add transfer. There we go. That's what I'm after. That's just fun. We're just in fun town now. We've made a foundation. Now I'm just coming through and sculpting out all the different parts. This is probably the point where I'd put, like, if I was by myself, I'd just put on a good playlist and just go and just zone out. What time is it in Australia? 12:50 p.m. Yeah, Lana. Yeah, middle of the day. Middle of the day. You can have fun on the edges of the light, right? Particularly, say, with the beard here. You can have some of these flyaway hairs that are catching the light, but you've still got that hard edge. Just gives a bit more interest. Was there something you saw when you were a kid that made you want to start drawing? I guess some of the Disney stuff, definitely. My mum and dad were good at drawing. And I saw that, and I used to get very frustrated. And then that, I don't know. I just kept doing it, but I never touched any of this stylized stuff up until like 2 years ago, which is nuts. I appreciate it, Grace. Thanks for popping in. What if someone is wearing the exact same outfit as him? I mean, maybe. But why would... Whoa, excuse me. But why would he have this reaction? Why would he be so befuddled? That's the question. Did they go to art school? No, my dad's a dental technician. My mum did, what's it, prosthetics. But they were very good with like making things. Oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Yeah, that's a good one. GTC2, good morning. Lana, special effects? No, like, I guess, yeah, you could say like prosthetic. No, but like for people that like lost an ear, a nose, an eye, and that kind of thing. Like I used to take to school, like primary school, like a box of eyes that were like resin, like really intricately done, like kind of eyes. They're really cool. And like teeth and like silicone, like ears and noses and that kind of stuff. Never thought I'd be doing something similar myself, like with making sculptures and that kind of thing, but yeah. Gerald the Feral Herald. Lana, no, I don't think so. I never was good at it until I like spent time doing it, if that makes sense. I was not great at it. Because I started like last year. Like picked up clay and that kind of stuff. I did some digital sculpting a few years back, I think during COVID. But some of the first stuff I did was just like terrible. I personally don't quite believe in like it's in your blood kind of thing. I think like as a kid or when you're younger, you lean towards certain things and you get feedback from people that makes you want to do it more. And then you just spend an inordinate amount of time on that compared to others. Like there could be some, like with certain people, they're inherently more willing to sit down and do quote unquote like mundane things over and over and over again, which is this basically. Like this is what it's all about, is doing something over and over and over and over again. Sculpting, same thing. To sort of get good at it. Coding, same deal. Right, sit in one place and just do. Grace, I could see where it's a little bit of both as well. Certainly being exposed to the kind of sculpting stuff may have given, like just seen that as a possibility even as well. But I didn't touch it. I didn't touch the stuff until like physical clay properly until like last year. So does he have glasses? No. Oh, maybe. Do you have these like tiny little things? Nah. Maybe not. Is he saying it's in your blood applicable to vampires? It depends. If you think about it, they drink it, but how much does it go into their blood? Do they have blood? I don't know much about vampires. Because if it's just a food source, is it in their blood? That's another philosophical thing. When you eat something, at what point does it become you? I sit and think about this shit. Like, probably too much. They say 30 days. What's the 30 days? To be honest, if you compare yourself to others, it's quite demotivating. The person you compare yourself into probably poured so much effort into the thing. Not to say talent doesn't exist, of course. Yeah, it's the whole talent thing. I'm not sure if I believe in it. Like, there's a combination of things that is hard to quantify, probably, but I think a large portion of it is time dedicated on a specific thing, which means that anyone within reason can get good at almost anything that they want, given enough time and effort. And other people may be predisposed to things. Maybe their dexterity is a little bit better or a little bit more trained, or they have a propensity to have that kind of thing in the beginning. But someone that's talented versus someone that works hard, I'm going for the person that works hard all day long, compared to someone that's just like quote unquote talented. G2C, he looks like a stern yet friendly grandpa. Yeah, I can see that definitely. I think understanding how to construct objects when drawing lends itself well to modeling. True, there you go. That could have been a thing. I was starting to think about 3D forms when I was drawing a lot when I transitioned into doing a little bit of sculpting. So those two could have definitely helped a lot. Rachel Ben is smart. Look at that big brain to learn. No. I just have to obsess over a specific few things. Yeah, Devi, I think it was a Vsauce thing, wasn't it? On like, when does it become you? Yeah. So eating pigs and beef helps us become better artists. I don't know where you got that from. Yeah, this chat is nuts sometimes, in the best way. Keeps it interesting. Let's see if we can really knock in some of these shadows a little bit more, with a bit more depth maybe. Whip out the old multiply layer. See what we can do. Then I want to spice it up a little bit. Make it a little bit more on the bluer side, potentially, in certain areas. Alright, so we go from that to that. I don't know if I like it that much, so let's just somewhere in the middle potentially. Hey Sean, how you doing? Grace, I think talent is like a boost, but you can only get better if you put the work and time in. Agreed. Do you believe the fact that to be a good artist you have to draw a perfect circle? No. No. I don't know where you got that from, but I don't subscribe to that. Yeah, Mom, how you doing? But I knew this kid in school who was 5 and she could draw like a grown-up, so I don't know, maybe she was a one-off. Yeah, but you don't know how much time that she spent on it off, like maybe while you were watching TV or doing other things that you were better at than her or him. They were just drawing. That could definitely be it as well. Have I dipped my toes into other genres like paleo art, for example? No, I haven't. I love that though. It could be something fun to do, definitely. Prashan, how you doing? Great to have you pop in. Well, here's another way to view talent. Why do you obsess over certain things when painting, drawing, and sculpting? That's not something that comes naturally to certain people. That's a very good point. That's a very good question as well. I don't know. I get like a big dopamine hit from like learning new stuff. That's like my happy place. Like I get the similar feeling when I do, like when I'm drawing and painting. Like, you know that feeling where just like everything goes away and it's just like, you don't even realize it goes away. It's just like fun, just for the sake of it being fun. I get that feeling with like code. With coding, drawing, sometimes even at the gym as well, depending on the session, you know, it's just learning and progressing and getting better at things, learning new things is something that I just love. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. What I can tell you is that adding texture to this jacket is going to make it look a lot better. See if we can luminance lock this bad boy. Add some texture, then we'll come over the top to like harmonize it with a particular color. This isn't doing fuck all, is it? Oh, there we go. "3D line, how you doing?" But even if you didn't have talent, I still think you can get good at something. And 1,000%, 1,000%. That's the only reason it makes it fun. Knowing that you can get better at something. Because if you're just born with it, it's like, well, what the fuck? What's the point? There is no point. It's like, oh, I guess I wasn't born with it, so shame. All right, let's get some harmony. Whoa. Grace, yeah, sunlight lighting is fun. Yeah, Lana, it is soon. Rachel, the topic dips into the soul of it. Yeah, we can go deep. We can go down that rabbit hole, but maybe not today. What music? Hello. And we're back. Anyone know how to reduce broth in the oven? Off topic. I'd imagine you would do it for longer at a lower heat. Potentially. Grace, what's your color favorite color layer mode? Mine is overlay. Mine's multiply because I can get a lot out of it. What was I doing? Yeah, that's what I was doing. Ben's hat matches Cherry. You're not wrong. Art colleges there evaluate artist skills by making us draw a circle. In what context though? Because there may be some value in that. Thanks, Ben. Will do. Yeah, I'd Google it first. I don't know if that's true. Do you think we need an art degree to get jobs in companies such as Netflix, Riot Games, etc.? Do they check our college degrees? From my experience, no. You don't need to. I think what's more valuable is viewing yourself as a problem solver and that the companies have problems to solve. And if you can prove that you can solve those problems within their restraints, be it via time constraints, within their constraints, whether it be time constraints, like IP constraint, like whatever, then you're valuable to that company. I think it's all about showing the value versus, hey, I got a piece of paper. But I'm not I've never been to college. I don't know the value of it per se. I'm not one to talk on this really, if I'm honest. These are just opinions. I've I've come into this industry in a weird roundabout way. No degrees needed unless you want a work visa. See there, I didn't even think of that. True. Google is for nerds, I like it. Yeah, thumb guns. That's true. That's definitely true. Because there was this big push in the tech space probably about 10 years ago for like coding boot camps where they were like expedited sort of college courses because of the demand for developers. So yeah, I know that firsthand that you don't need a degree. Again, it's solving problems. Like I'm even starting to think about, for myself, if I was hiring people, the mindset changes a lot. And you start to see it from the other side. Like I do not care personally where you went to school, like what grades you got, whatever. Can you do the job that I'm after? Are you nice to work with? Right? Would I want to hang out with you regardless? You know, that's the kind of things that I would be looking for as an employer. But I'm not a big studio or anything like that, so that's, again, take it with a grain of salt. Ben, what do you recommend for studying anatomy? What book? What is it? Is it Goldstein? No. What's it called? First off, always like Michael Hampton or Steve Hampton, whatever his books under, figure drawing, design and invention. That one's great. But for anatomy, oh, I can't remember it. Like it's gold something. It's just like, it's very textbook. Very textbook. Like you see all the muscles insertions and all that kind of thing. But like meshing those two together is really, really cool. George Bridgman is good. Yeah, agree. But yeah, just look up like a Goldstein, and that for an, what is it? Let's see. Goldstein anatomy. No, if I remember it, I'll let you know. But yeah, could you please quickly simulate the transparency of the ear? Okay. Real quick, and then I reckon we've got to wrap this stream up because I've got to sort some stuff out for Lightbox. All right, transparency of the ear. It is see-through. Well, not see-through. It's transparent. Why would we ever have a situation where it's transparent? Well, for situations like rim lights. Okay. So we can imagine there's maybe a rim light here. Maybe it catches a little bit of the hairs on his beard, you know, or backlighting, or whatever you want to call it. There's light that's going to be giving that indication of translucency. What you can do is just like a quick and dirty way to do it, add in color dodge. Alright, and now you've got a real quick translucent ear kind of deal. You can call that, it's called subsurface scattering, if you want to dive deeper into it. There you go. So that's a little quick way, using the color dodge. Pick the same color of the ear, and then, I mean, that's pretty extreme, but it could be that extreme as well, depending on the light source and all other factors and whatnot. I mean, he could be backlit from something, I don't know if that would make any sense really, if we've got this lighting scenario here, but we can also do a bit of subsurface scattering on the cheeks here as well. On the nose, really make that shine. Color dodge is a fun one. But there you go. I think it's a great way to get started coding. Honestly, ChatGPT is the best way to get started coding. Because there is a thing now where it's what is cursor AI, right? When you code, you've got this thing called an IDE, or a what does IDE stand for again? Something development environment, right? Where you code. Essentially like how we use Photoshop to put pixels down. There's like a program that you use to then write code, which can then run certain things and whatever. Doesn't matter. But there's things now where you can take a photo of a website, give it to this thing called Cursor AI, pop it in there, and then it will write the code that generates the image that you've sent her, like a screenshot of a website, and it will do a pretty bloody good job, and it will give you the code, and then you can just ask it and just continue, like all in line. You can just ask it to make updates. I used it for this. Let's see. Like this is a kind of where we're at now from the coding side of things. So this is, I've just been updating the website. Right, but to do that, like I updated this little animation. So it helped me get to this point. It's unbelievable. Right? So unnecessary. You don't need this on a website, but I wanted it. So I wanted to figure out how to code it, and I said, okay. It just did a lot of the boilerplate instead of me spending hours just sitting down and trying to do stuff and trial and error it. So yeah, it's amazing. But what did you ask it to know how to do that? So you still have to understand code to do it. So the website is built in React, which is JavaScript. Right, so here is the chat. So it's like a holographic card. So I just asked it, I said, create a row of 5 images that display images that I give it or that I provide, and make an animation that represents something similar to a holographic Pokemon card when the mouse enters that image. So you still have to give it kind of the lingo of what it understands, and you've got to iterate on it, because what it first spit out was not what I wanted, but it got there a lot faster than if I just was sitting there trying to do it myself. Like, it's, yeah, pretty unreal. The real Damien. Oh yeah, the Filthy plugin. It works across, like the hue changes work across the pencil, and it works across the line tool and all the shape tools as well, like the polyline, the polygon triangle, all that sort of stuff. So you can do, if you have it set to pixels, I believe. Yeah. Actually, I quite like that pattern for his hat. But yeah, anyway, let's wind it down. I'll check in with chat. Mr. Sir, thanks for popping in. I didn't know about that, about the Filthy plugin. I thought it was just for Lasso. Nah, it activates on everything. All right. Me too, Lana. I got to bounce. I got to strip some paint off of some plain Janes, unfortunately, but it is what it is. No plugs for today. You know where to find me. All the links are in the description. If you want more from me, you know where to go. Yeah, going to be at Lightbox. Okay, I guess that's a plug. Yeah, going to be at Lightbox next month. If you want to come hang out and say hi, but there'll be a stream before that anyway. And I think I'll be streaming from Christian's house as well. So, yeah. I will thank you for popping in, keeping me company. I needed this today. It was it's been a very hectic week, very hectic morning. Just to focus on something else was lovely, and having good chat. So thanks everyone for popping in. Really appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next one. Toodaloo. Ta-ta for now.